think I forgot to do something. What was it? I don't remember. Hi, it's me, Scott. We're gonna start working. I don't want to work. I want to play. Oh, I left the broom in the shot. That's unsightly. Don't look at the broom. Embarrassing. Hide the broom. Kind of just want to play Loop Hero, but I said we were gonna work on this thing, so we should probably work on this thing. So this is a project. How are you, by the way? Hi. Do we want to jump right into the project? I've been thinking a lot about storage, you know, because I like when we were updating my site, which we're paused on at the moment just to see if it works for a month or so. I moved all the data, or didn't move it, cloned it all to Backblaze B2, and I kind of like it. Like Backblaze B2 is okay. I didn't like that CNAME problem that we had because it was annoying and dumb. I just remembered the thing I forgot. Okay, wait. I was like in the middle of doing something and then I forgot what I was doing and then I remembered and there we go. Okay, did it. So it's generally pretty good. So then I went on this like kind of rabbit hole of alternate syncing approaches. So like if you have, you know, the common cloud storage services, that's your Dropbox and your Google Drive and your Microsoft OneDrive and your Apple iCloud. I mean, I would say those are probably the top four. On top of that, there is an Amazon Drive and there's Adobe Creative Cloud and all this other stuff. There's like so many people will give you some storage. It's usually limited, fairly constrained because they want you to run out of space and give them a bunch of money. So I've been a Dropbox user for a long time, and I use Apple iCloud for photos. Dropbox I'm not a huge fan of. I kind of accidentally over time through referrals and stuff like that ended up with the most space. And while I was in school, they gave us a lot of space, but then they took it away, which kind of sucked. So anyway, one of the things I was thinking was well, what if I just use B2 for everything? And I had a good synchronization client for it. And unfortunately, there's not one. There's like a ton of options, and some of those options are ways to just look at it like it's an FTP server or something. Like you have a client and you can look at it, and that's not what I want because I want it to be synchronized. So some of those can synchronize, but they're a little lame. There's some that will mount it like as a local drive, as a network share, and those seem okay. And some of those will synchronize, and some of them let you flag things as offline, so they seem pretty good. But some of them they seem very expensive, and in some cases very clunky. And in some cases, they like don't do the thing you want them to do. Like I was very excited about one called Mountain Duck from the people who make CyberDuck, and like it just didn't synchronize. If I put something new on the server, it didn't show up locally. So that's like, that to me is like the minimum thing that needs to happen. And so I don't know. I'm a little annoyed with those things. So I have a strategy for now, I guess, which is I will have stuff that's kind of cold storagey, you know, like that. Like the website archive, they don't really have to talk to very much, and it's not a big deal if I just have to manually synchronize it. What tool I use to synchronize it is another question. But there's a fair number of command line tools and things like that, some of which are very finicky, that let you do that. So that's fine. But then there's the question of the cloud storage, and I even got into looking like, okay, what if I do I've got some Google storage from school, or I've got, you know, again, Dropbox, or in all these other places, and there are tools that let you like alternate clients for those that are a little more powerful. But again, they seem to be kind of expensive, and none of them seems to quite do the job. So it's a little annoying. I don't really know what I want to do about that. The answer right now is nothing, I think. The answer right now is to pick some new wallpaper. So yeah, for now, I think maybe I'll ditch Dropbox because it's been getting more and more annoying. I liked it when it was fine. I'm not gonna say I liked it, but it was fine when it was just, we want to sync your files. And then at some point they decided like, no, we need to be an Office suite. And I don't care anymore. Like for files that are just random personal files that I need to have around and have available, I've got extra space on iCloud for those, so that's probably fine. And then for files that are, critical work files that I need synchronized around, maybe I'll use alternate tools for that. I don't exactly know. The one downside with the iCloud thing is if I want it here on Windows, because I don't want to run 5 different synchronization clients. We are not hitting the lottery with that's fine. We'll go with this one. Okay, so what are we doing today? We're going to look at a project that is basically a sad, abandoned project. And only like a couple weeks ago, just because I needed to reference it somewhere, I did throw up a page for it in my portfolio, but it's sad. This is a sad page because it's just some screenshots. But once upon a time, I was stuck in Amarillo, stuck in my hometown, and I spent a little time just making kind of a little album of interactive. It's kind of an interactive album where it's simple little songs, but the songs aren't really set in time. They're like little interactive toys almost that make the music. And so I got 7 of them, and I kind of in my mind wanted 8, but then I left town and went and had a big project I was working on, and it just kind of got forgotten. The other thing that is annoying about it is I was going to release it on iOS, and iOS really all mobile development is so annoying now because of, so many different screen sizes, and is there notch, or is there notch? Is there not a notch? Is there a hole? Whatever. Like, it is so more and more difficult, has gotten more and more difficult to say like, hey, I just want to make an application and have it run on mobile. It used to be, for a period, iOS development was like the most predictable thing, especially before the iPhone 4 came out, because it was like the phone's the phone. And then it was like, okay, now we have double density, there's Retina displays. Okay, now there's 2 aspect ratios. Now there's many different phone sizes. Now there's all these different resolutions. Like, it got very annoying very quickly. Like, let's see if we can find an iPhone resolution guide. Guys, I think it's borderline incomprehensible now. If you care, if you want, like, if you care about pixels and you want to know that you are showing things pixel perfect and as sharp as you possibly can with raster assets, it's not easy, because like, look at all these differences. There's all these different, like, we don't care about these, really. All these, like, probably we don't care about any of these, but I think we technically still care about this. Well, yeah, because the 8's in there, sure. So we care about all this stuff. And like, just look at the different ratios and the different render densities. Sometimes they're 2x and sometimes they're 3x. The aspect ratios vary, the sizes vary, sometimes there's notches, all that, it's just annoying. And this isn't even including iPads, right? So that's a whole nother set. And then you have to ask yourself, like, okay, do I care if I'm doing things in portrait or landscape and so on? So when I started this app, it was, actually, I don't have a local copy of it. And I think it's actually on a different source control server than I normally use. But anyway, so I did this, like, started this 4-ish years ago, and so it was just a different time. Unity has changed a lot in the last 4 years. And one of the things I was really considering is because of that annoyance of, like, it's really hard for me to just produce some nice raster assets that will look good in all these places, because they're gonna get scaled up and down so much, was maybe I should, nope. Use the Unity vector package, which is weird because it's not a vector the way you think of a vector, sort of. In Illustrator or with SVGs or whatever with vector, you generally think of it as like, okay, here's some instructions on how to draw something, basically, like some mathematical instructions on how to draw a thing, and draw the thing, draw it right now, and maybe cache it at a certain size if it makes sense, but you're going to draw it. Like, it's a recipe for a drawing rather than a bunch of pixels that make up a drawing. And that's not what the Unity vector package does. The Unity vector package says, okay, let me take that recipe and I'm going to turn it into geometry, which is cool and seems great for, like, fine lines in some cases, but then you have to deal with anti-aliasing, and you have to deal with, like, curves and how dense are those meshes and how much geometry is it. So I don't know if that's really the right answer. Some part of me says it's not. But let's just try to get, well, that repository is not listed here, so guess we're in trouble. Why? Where is it? Where are you? Okay, sorry. I need a moment. I think it's on Bitbucket. I pay for storage. I feel like I was bamboozled into this. Like, yeah, all these sites. There's so many of these services that feel a little mercenary, or maybe more than a little. This is weird. So, don't show organization. Okay, I found it. Okay, but like I'm in the middle of a project and I need to work and I need to move forward, and then I suddenly get the thing that's like, hey, your GitHub LFS storage is full, dude. You got to pay for more storage, which is separate from paying for an account. So that, and I didn't have time to like, you know, I'm in the middle of stuff. I couldn't go back like, okay, let me go to these old projects and archive them or whatever. It's like, no, I need to work. So that was kind of lame. But Git 2021. I'm just finding a place to clone this. One day I'll talk about my very exciting strategies for managing and cloning things. I thought my camera's a little blown out a touch because the gain changed for no reason and nobody told you to change, but you changed. Still seems blown out. Let's go even lower. Okay, so we have this Git repository we're going to clone. So first thing we got to do is just like, does any of this even work? Also, do I have the latest version of Unity installed on this machine? It's possible that I don't. .2020.3 LTS. 2020.3.1 is out. Do I care that much for a single patch release? Maybe. I'd say we don't need Linux support right now. I'm say just for now we don't need Android support. We won't even worry at first about building it to anything. That's another annoying thing. Building to iOS devices is not cool. I have an absurd number of Unity versions. I should ditch some. But it gets lame because, you know, late in a project, you don't update anymore. And I have enough lingering projects where it's like, okay, this project needs whatever. And this project actually needs whatever. And this project needs this thing. And, you know, it happens. And I do like to, kind of like to try to have the latest LTS version of everything, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Okay, maybe that was a poor choice, because now we have to wait for this to install, but we did clone this. So, yeah, this is all early 2017. Was I even using Vectrosity? I guess I was. I don't think I was. I think I got rid of it at a certain point. And I guess while we're waiting for that install, we can just go look at the videos. I don't even know if Instagram will let me look at anything if I'm not logged in. That's not me. That's not me at all. Hello, friend. So, yeah, good grief. Instagram, I need to just, I hate Facebook. I need to not have an Instagram account. I kind of want to delete all my social media accounts. I don't use them at all. They're just sitting there, but some part of me is like, well, maybe I'll need a Twitter account someday, even though I haven't tweeted regularly for, I don't even know, more than 10 years. Okay, so, I mean, none of these are the fanciest, most amazing things by any means, but I just want to finish some stuff, you know? Can I not watch these without seeing people's comments? That's a little weird. Okay, well, So this one you just click and it makes little drippy blops. And the drippy blops kind of make a little song. And they're quite simple. And this one's not even that big of, I don't know, maybe I'm being over precious about the resolution thing. But on Retina displays, stuff that is not pixel perfect looks not good to me. That's not sharp. Looks not good. So this one is kind of a, I think this one's actually kind of cool. So it's a sort of a very simple sequencer, like you would expect to see in sequencer type contexts. But anytime you want, you can swipe to change the direction. So that was a left swipe, and it just, when swiping, it completely reworks the interface. It keeps the exact same grid. It just plays that grid in a new direction. Which I think was kind of cool. Right? Not bad. This one is like a proportional thing where you slide these sliders up and down, and it's like a and you can play at alternate speeds on the top versus the bottom. This one's kind of a connect the dots guy. That was pretty loud. Should probably have something like some volume divider that based on the number of tracks divides, because that one gets really loud. This one I think is cool. This one kind of like plinks around. Like there's rules that determine whether something goes left or right, and then after it goes through a gate, it will flip it to the other way. Yeah, and like there's definitely some audio problems with some of these. This is one in particular that I think I was bothered by the resolutions. This one, like you can throw these and have them, you know, they can spin at different speeds based on the velocity that you release them. Is that all? No. And this one is kind of gravity based, and it sort of plucks these strings as they fall. And the thickness kind of shows what their weight are. So I think they can have different weights. Like that one makes it heavier, and then when they are heavier, they fall a little faster. So, you know, I think they're okay. I still sort of wish they were 8, but There's not. And I don't really want to make a new one. I just want to release that. I just want to release it. So that's what we're working with. So we have a couple of objectives. One of those objectives is just like, you know, assess the project, like maybe throw a coat of paint on it, see how it's doing. Just like get it functional and modern again, which might take a little bit of work. And then also, you know, I wrote it 4 years ago, so we may look at it and be like, oh, we should rewrite this or that to make it a little better, whatever. Just get it up and running is step one. Tidy up the code maybe is step two. And then step three would be probably tidy up the code and the art, you know, because like originally these were kind of conceived as separate things, but we'd probably want to go in and make a pass and conform the colors and pick one palette, which I think this is now like the palette, so we would just apply this palette everywhere. And then, you know, do that stuff, and then is the whole question of, do we do this vector thing? And I don't know, we just have to see like how round are our circles if we do that. How good is Unity's vector graphics package? Is it still preview? Probably, since 90% of Unity is not finished. It's preview 34. All right, 2.0. That, yeah, preview, okay. 2.0 preview 14. 2018.1 and later. I'm a little confused though. So what's the... So it is still being updated, which is good. There's some fixes instead of changes, which kind of seems good. Like maybe it's trending towards... I mean, it never looks like there was... I don't think there was a ton of work. In fact, there were only 2 updates in all of 2022, or sorry, all of 2020. Quite a bit in 2019. So it's hard to look at that and know. Like either you look at that and you say like it is Unity's losing interest in it, or you look at it and say it's nearing completion. And it's hard to say with Unity, because it does seem, unfortunately, like with all this stuff they have in flight and all this stuff they're juggling, that you can't really rely on... it just doesn't feel like there's a guarantee that something in preview is going to be out imminently, you know? Like it's going to be out anytime soon. So does that mean preview is good enough to ship? I don't know. Feels a little annoying that they went from a 1.0 preview package to a 2.0 preview package. 26 preview releases before, and then another 15, 14 now. Relatively recent release, not super recent. You know, but it could be that some of these are like hyper specific things, so... So one of the things that I think could be okay about this is I might be wrong about this, but I think the way this works, at least the way we'd probably want to use it with I think there's an importer that will import sprites and just make the geometry. We would basically know that they were working or not at runtime. I'm sorry, in like editor time. And so there'd be a lower chance that it's just going to randomly fail at runtime, because by the time we get to runtime, we're really just dealing with geometry, I think. I really don't know. I thought there were more, so like no examples in here. Text elements are not supported, which is fine, because I don't think we have any text. If we did have text, we would just use some other text method. Per pixel masking. I don't think we need any masking. Filter effects, we don't really care about. We don't care about interactivity. We don't care about animation. So like, we're probably okay. I wish there was just like, yeah, I'd have a little more faith in it if it was not still preview after. When it's come out 2018. So we're 3 years in. This documentation has not been updated for most of the time. I don't think I want I don't want real time though. You're talking about that shapes asset? Shapes asset? I don't think that's quite what I want. I just need to vectorize. I mean, maybe I could use this. It's $100. Like, I just need to take some vector assets I have and then have them be more resolution independent. Like, this is created with shapes, but I don't even, does it actually do like importing SVGs and things like that? No SVG support. Yeah. So this isn't really, I mean, and that's not, you know, it's fine. This is just how it's designed, but this isn't really designed for vectorizing assets or bringing in vector assets. It's for creating kind of resolution independent-ish things. I mean, maybe not ish. I assume, I don't actually know if they're drawn on the fly or if they're turned into geometry. I don't know. I remember looking at this. So I don't actually know the answer. If this is, you know, this could all be done in a shader. This could all be done. It's cool. It's a cool package, but I just think it's not quite what I need. Not quite. Not quite. Unless I wanted to recreate everything. I mean, that's actually, I could. The only thing that is of any, I mean, that would take, it'd be a pretty substantial rework. The only thing where there's like anything fancy is some of the button labels. Everything else is really just circles and squares. It's a very simple interface. So like recreating my interface with shapes would probably not be that big of a deal. I mean, visually wise, like art wise recreating, I think I could mostly do it. However, like porting to that, I don't know. This probably would give me rounder circles. I mean, the thing is though, well, I don't have any jobs right now that I could just randomly bill $100 to, so I could write it off as a business expense, but I still pay for it. Like, it just means I pay a little bit less tax, but business write-offs are not free. But yeah, I think it's not quite the thing I need. Unless I wanted to recreate everything. Also, I think I have to read it. Oh, no, you can, right? You can just do like shape modules. Cute. But I definitely am not a fan of things, of generating graphics that you have to hit play to see the graphics. I'm not a fan of that. I think this is not just that. I think you do have like, you can do stuff here and then see the stuff, at least to some extent. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm sure I could use this to do it, but it might be more of a hassle than what I want to do, which is just take assets that I've already designed, that are already vectors, they already exist, and convert them to geometry. Well, that's the thing I'm curious about actually, is like, do I have to break all these to pieces, or can I break them apart on import. That would be kind of cool. Or SVG groups. I would just have to see. So like people are still talking about this. There's a dev who's in there talking. Which, you know, gives me some faith. There's the elephant. People seem to be using this thing. This Unity person seems to be paying attention, so maybe, I mean, it seems like it's not just abandoned. Okay, we finally installed. Great. Okay, I should move this over here, because there's probably secrets. There's always secrets. Add. Some of those secret projects have shipped, so I should just archive those so there's not even accident. I won't even accidentally do it. Okay, volume 1. Select a version. Could be that everything is broken entirely because this is a much newer version of Unity, so like, you never know. Things could be quite busted. So it looks, I can generally assume the project will continue to me further developer and maintained for the foreseeable future. Yes, our plan is to bring the package to verified status later. When? How much later? How much later? We have some major refactor to do first, most of them related to anti-aliasing in the UI toolkit and her integration. That's interesting, and that would kind of explain why it's being dragged a little bit. So UI toolkit, I think that was called UI elements first. That is their like new in editor UI creation process, which that's annoying if it's delayed because of that, but it's also kind of good news because if the vector graphics library is like foundational to the UI toolkit, which who knows, maybe it is or maybe it isn't, but if they're kind of maintaining them in tandem, that could be good news. Or it could be, you know, could mean nothing. Project you're open contains compilation errors, allows you to resolve these errors without waiting for this project to import. If you select ignore, your project will continue to import to it, maybe in a broken, unusable state. Ignore. Because I think I want to import everything, because it's mostly audio files and stuff like that. That's another thing about this, actually, that I didn't even mention, is the state of the audio. So much of the audio was just me recycling audio from other projects, which is okay, but maybe not the best thing. Okay, so yeah, there's definitely going to be stuff that's just straight up broken, of course. So why was I using Vectrosity? We're using some kind of interpolation thing. I don't know why, really. Unless we really needed to interpolate on a... Who knows? This is me of 4 years ago. Yeah, like I don't do stuff like this anymore. Like iTween, I just write it now, usually. Vectrosity. So it looks like there's a fair number of dependencies in here that I kind of would not want. The Vectrosity one is maybe tricky to get rid of, but I'm not actually sure that I use it. Because there's like extras in here, right? Like there's a lot of work in progress ones, actually. So I had like some kind of main scene that would roll them in. Interesting. Yeah, okay, so like drop, roll, fade, line, gate, ring, fall. Those are the main ones. The thing that's going to be a little annoying is the whole project's not going to run until we get individual pieces running. You know, like we can't, Unity won't let us. Yeah, like all that iTween stuff. But so those are actual errors. That stuff's been straight up removed. So that's bad. Yeah, some of that stuff I don't really know. Okay, so that's pretty annoying. Like, I don't. Like I said, that's just not my jam anymore. Is depending, like those kind of dependencies, not my jam. If I had written that stuff, we probably would not have this problem. Probably. And even it's not like I've always, I've pretty much always been a little anti, but for whatever reason, tween libraries is something I've always used for, I don't know, for whatever reason, going back to like Flash days, but not really anymore. Okay, Visual Studio Code. Is it going to work? I'm going to guess no. It's probably going to be broken. Like everything is going to be broken in Visual Studio Code because Visual Studio Code loves to be broken. Yeah, this is a little annoying. I mean, there's not like a super obvious solution for it, but just this whole idea that it may take a while to get this project up and running, unfortunately. So one question is like, how often are we using iTween? If it's not very much, maybe we just quickly ditch it. Okay, this seems bad. We're using it everywhere. We're using it in basically every script. Well, okay. So given that, I don't want to, I mean, that would really take some time to port all of those things. So this project seems very heavily dependent on iTween. So whatever. Why the Vectrosity though? I don't. I think that's maybe. I think maybe I was trying to use Vectrosity for something that actually isn't among the 7 that are the kind of chosen 7. So is iTween a Unity package that I can just Unity package in now? No. What? Wait, what? I really bought iTween at one point. Okay, so I can do this. Can I do this? Oh, I've got this cool audience. Okay, yes, there is iTween. So presumably I can just download this as a package. Then where's it going to end up? I hate this. I don't like that. This is all we care about, is this. That's something I really don't like about. I mean, packages solve this, but this isn't really a package. You know, it's not a package in that it lives in the packages land. It's going to stick stuff in my project, and I'm just not really a fan. But seemingly, we really only need that one file. Hopefully, it's up to date. It looks pretty new. I mean, that's not that new, actually. That's close to 2 years old, isn't it? So maybe we're still in big trouble. Okay, that seemed to... Okay, that solved the iTween problems. iTween's not bad. I'm getting more and more cranky about dependencies. I don't like them. Like, that's not very much code. Oh, there's more. Wait, there's probably is a lot more, actually. But as far as what we need, yes, it's huge. But as far as what we actually need and what we actually care about, it's just an interpolation. It's just like, we have a value and we want to get to another value. Oh, well, I know, but compared to when the project's from was 2017. So yes, you're right. It is 2 years ago now, but it is 2 years newer than the previous version we had. So it's we've improved a little bit at least. So this is a weird one. I don't exactly understand. So I'm frequently talking about... So metronome is my thing. Uh-oh, do I have more than one metronome? That would probably be not good. No. Okay. Tick. So what am I looking for that nobody can find? Tick duration? It's because it's not in there. How did this... How did this work? It would have been really rude of me, really rude of 4 year ago me to like push a broken thing. Yeah, could be time for a new update. I mean, so my perception of that library is it's pretty complete in terms of what you'd want from a tweening library. And so I would kind of guess that maintenance now is just for compatibility. And if there's no compatibility issues, maybe there's not a reason to update it. I mean, you know, that's a pretty like finite realm. Okay, so I'm a little worried about this though. Are there any other branches? No. Let me make sure on this machine where I actually did the work. It would be, let's say, uncool of me to have... Okay, Unity, Volume 1. Pushed broken code. I mean, like I said, I did kind of abandon this project mid-step. Git status. Oh. There's a lot of stuff that's not pushed. So what it kind of looks like I did, which would be a pretty silly thing for me to do. What it kind of looks like I did is on some of these, maybe these are broken in things that I didn't actually use. No, I use fall. This is actually pretty unlike me. I'm disappointed in the me of 4 years ago because this looks like there is... So one thing it looks like that I did was just zip up a bunch of the ones that I wasn't actually using. But that still doesn't explain... There's actually no C# changes. Yes, there is. There's one. For one called roll. Drum CS has a change. Okay, let me, like, let's just look at this and try to figure out what is not committed. So the thing I did, which is a pretty funny thing to do, which I was not say is a good idea, but I did it, was I had like a bunch of half completed ones that looked like they were just breaking. And rather than try to like fix those when I, didn't know if I was going to care about them or want to use them, I just zipped them inside the Unity project. Which again is not really how I would normally do a thing, but it was 4 years ago. What did I know? I mean, I don't know that. I don't know anything now either, but surely didn't know anything 4 years ago. Where is the... Of course, I have to re-authenticate. It's great. Bitbucket. OAuth. Yes. Let's do it. I need to get everything off of Bitbucket and everything off of GitLab because I just don't really use those services anymore. Or maybe I need to switch everything back to GitLab now that Bitbucket or GitHub's charging me money for space. I think everybody does that though, unfortunately. Okay. Can we do it? I have used my laptop relatively little since quarantine, since I don't go anywhere. Okay, so the things that I've actually updated. There's one script file that just removes the debug log. So that not much, there's no code that changed, actually. So I don't see how that's going to fix this problem. But I do kind of feel like I should push, that I need to push it. This song is called Guantanamo Bay, B-A-E, Bay. It's pretty good. Can I not push this? Because I haven't used this computer and I haven't used Bitbucket in so long. It's all a mess. Kind of seems like there are SSH problems. Cool. Okay, sorry, bear with me. Yeah, I kind of... So we got a lot more spring cleaning to do. I feel like I got more work to do to get my digital life on lock. So we have a key here marked Vesper. Maybe it's a lie. Add key. Someone has already added that SSH key. Then why... This sucks. Okay, what? Why can't you read from the remote repository? Mm-hmm. It's like it's not saving my credentials properly. There's an issue. I can't find a Bitbucket account for this SSH connection. What are you talking about? Save. Okay. Now? Are we happy now? Push. This is kind of infuriating. How did it even let me pull it before? If I did not have permission? Okay, I must have changed something about it. Because I can't do anything. Can I even fetch? So it's possible, repository settings, that my remotes are messed up somehow. This needs to be on the list of things to do today, is get this away from Bitbucket, get it onto GitHub. Maybe I should do that. If this doesn't work, I should just do that. Volume 1, clone, get at bitbucket.org. It's weird. Okay, that pushed. So now we're gonna have this broken snapshot, but maybe it'll be less broken or broken in a different fun way, or who knows. It's probably gonna, we're probably gonna have a conflict because we upgraded. So I think the project settings are probably gonna break. Like we probably can't even pull right now. My prediction. Yes. So like all the, I don't know why these metas. So there's, whatever. So don't know why those metas changed. It's just like upgrading updates to them. So if it's just sprite metas, let's just discard all those for now. And in fact, I haven't really changed anything yet, so. Okay, discard all these. Disappointed in myself for not doing that last push, but I think also I didn't really think I would be waiting for 40 years to work on the project. Okay, we pulled. I don't think we care about any of this. Did that not just let me remove this? Okay. Cool. What's going to be broken now? Who can say? Still doesn't really explain to me why the metronome was busted. That's a weird one. Okay, but that fixed it. I don't know how. So I don't remember. I don't know, man. Like some of this stuff. Like the nature of how the resolutions are calculated and all that stuff, I don't really remember. I don't really remember how I did some of these things, like loading and unloading stuff. I don't remember. Maybe I was clever and I can just run this. I've got a metronome here. I think the metronome is a singleton and it's smart enough to get loaded or not loaded. So I think that's like a thing. Kind of think these were designed to be 1080 square. The issue is it may be that these like don't run automatically anymore. Like that something is supposed to turn it on. It's so cute. Okay. I don't exactly remember the on-off thing. I think it's... So the idea is that there's some loader and then it loads and unloads these scenes as you click through the album, quote-unquote. So drop seems functional-ish, right? So let's just try to run that main scene, I guess. It seemed like it wasn't going to work, but let's try it. Yeah, these are the ones I zipped up because they were work in progress. Maybe we'll look at those and maybe one of those is worth pursuing. So I don't remember how this works. I think I tried to do some kind of dynamic thing where it'd figure out if you were portrait or landscape or whatever. Seems like it doesn't work. Or maybe it's just, yeah, I don't know. I might have said this app was portrait only. Okay. So drop works. We've got some scaling issues with roll, it looks like. For some fun reason. Who knows why. But the swiping appears to work. And the underlying logic appears to work. Like these two should light up. Oh, sorry, these two. The click locations are right? Yeah, that's kind of funny. Okay, so roll is broken. Fade. Actually looks like I already changed the colors of that. So that's good. Have you already changed the colors of that? That's a lot of audio sources. So like one of the main problems we have is like audio management. So really easy answer is to just like put a compressor on it and then it can never get too loud. The smarter thing is to try to dynamically adjust levels based on the number of voices. I don't know that I've ever done that really successfully. The feedback on this one is not great. This is probably my favorite one. I think I did a good job on this one. I think it's cool. Like, it's deterministic, but it's... Maybe the initial state is randomized, but, like, you end up with these things that are, like... This one doesn't have any playhead or anything because it just kind of does its thing. I guess you could have some kind of auto mode for it, but I'm fond of this one. Like, these other ones are much more like... Interfaces. I mean, you could argue that this one should be an interface. Maybe these outer rings actually are buttons and that they're not part of the grid. Even though, yeah, you technically can end up out here. I don't remember how it's like how these guys decide which way they go, actually. Like these always want to emit outwards, but I thought like if something hits one of the, yeah, you can end up in the corner. So we just have to look at the underlying rules. This is one of the ones that I was especially annoyed with, the resolution. If I wanted to be pixel perfect, it was obnoxious. Okay, there's work to do there. And then this guy's pretty cute. I forgot how it works. So you click these to make them fat. Somehow we lost our scale. Like the scaling is wrong. So it's going to take some work, actually. There's no K. It's pick as in picture. So it's a portmanteau of picture and cross, I think. So, you know, some of these are okay. I think they're okay. They seem, unfortunately, very broken. So it seems like I was in the process of packaging them up when I think that's when I had to come to Portland in 2017 to work on a project and just lost the thread on this. So the good news is we have video that shows how they're supposed to work. So like I don't have to totally guess. I think they're pretty good. They're a little inconsistent. Like the look is pretty inconsistent. Like this one is maybe too bold. Maybe these shouldn't be solid. Maybe they should be stylized in a different way. But for the most part, or maybe we look for other places where we could have some more solidness, because the rest of them, yeah. Okay, so let's commit this as our like. Normally I would say we need a dev branch, but like the production branch is broken anyway and it was never released. So I think we just stay there. So this is an obvious one, which is like iTween update. These are just a million meta updates, which is fine. I don't want this. I want these to go away, and I don't know why I can't just say remove. Does Unity actively have all of those open right now, so I can't? That would be weird. Can't delete it. That makes me wonder if my git ignore is not proper. That'd be worthwhile. I'm sure the git ignore file has changed in the last. Wait, where's the git ignore? Am I one level lower than I'm supposed to be? Excuse me? Oh, that's funny. I bet the git ignore is, oh, that would have been not the way to do anything. I'd be I'm bad at my job. Okay. I think there is no git ignore because I think it was one level up, but the repo doesn't point to that level. I think I have, yeah. Yeesh. Wait, git ignore already exists. Does it? What? Why? It's right here. We're not showing hidden files on the side? Thought we did. Or not showing them in search? It's not even hidden. Was this here a second ago? Am I blind? Unity, get, ignore. I don't know, man. Maybe it's been exactly the same for 4 years. No, look at these fresh updates. Hot updates. I don't know if log is included in that. There's logs. So logs should not be in the project. There we go. Okay, this is a version bump. So these are all related to the version bump. I don't think I actually like having my VS Code settings in the project. The package manifest, I think we do want. And these, okay. Okay, so that's all good. So should we put .vs Code in source control? Should I commit .vs Code? I'm just gonna ignore Visual VS Code. Okay. That's fine, right? Yeah, but if there were like specific project settings, like tab settings or indentation or save on load or whatever, or a format on save on things like that, maybe I'd want them. Maybe, but I didn't have them globally. Sometimes I've been on teams where you do want shared stuff like that. This doesn't seem to be that, so I don't care. But I definitely worked on teams. Actually, it super annoys me now to work on teams with people who are using an editor that doesn't format on save. So they commit and then have like a bunch of whatever bad spaces or bad tabs or whatever dumb stuff that doesn't get cleaned up by the auto format. And then that means anytime I save their file, not only does it save my changes, it also saves a dozen other things because their file is poorly formatted. So it is nice potentially on certain projects to enforce some shared settings, like I mean, but I will, I've gotten lazy about it because VS Code just does the here. Like I've just gotten lazy because I just turned this on, so I'm actually less careful about formatting in many cases than I previously was. I'm sure you've seen that, like when I do stuff on Glitch or whatever. I'm just it annoys me to have to think about formatting in many cases because I can just save and be nicely formatted. And then you can enforce other structural things. Yeah, I mean, so much of it I do just out of muscle memory and will just happen. Certainly, but there can be annoying things like if I'm just not paying attention and I have some extra spaces here. Format on save. Well, now because I manually put them in, is it just going to leave them? I thought I got rid of extra spaces. Maybe that's a bad example. Anyway, if there's just some like little minor error or whatever. So I tend to format as I go, but there's always little mistakes that get cleaned up. And I definitely see that when I'm working on other people's edits. Oh, did I just have 2 copies of this? Is that what the problem was? That would maybe make sense if there were accidentally 2 metronomes and one was broken and one wasn't. Well, some stuff you have to do. I still review every file individually before I commit it, but I'm not necessarily reviewing it for format. Like, so for example, I just did that save. And so all of these changes are from save on load, and it just enforces things, so it looks like my typical style when I'm just typing things has a bracket there instead of bracket on a new line. And, it's debatable on what you think is the right answer for that, but this at least enforces that. So everybody would have that when they saved instead of it's a thing, if you have 4 people on a team, it's likely, it's guaranteed, in fact, that those 4 people will have slightly different coding styles. Like some person might say like, oh yeah, whatever, I open on the same line as the namespace, whatever, it's not a big deal. But then if somebody else doesn't have that and then they are making changes, they're going to do something different, so you end up with inconsistencies in your code base. So I think it's a nice setting to have, where you have a whatever the enforceable settings are, and then enforce those settings on save, if not on commit. I think you can do some of that stuff on commit as well. And then you don't end up with nonsense like this, which, right, because these files are from before I did that, probably if I just hit save on all these, there's going to be tons of changes on all these files that are just like minor white space layout things. And clearly previously I was formatting based on my style, but it was not necessarily a consistent style or easily enforceable style, or a style that you could share with somebody else on a team to make sure that you all have uniform styling. So, I guess it doesn't bother me now. I think I tend to write with the new line more anyway, just to like let the code breathe a little bit. Like this kind of stuff that I would do previously, I don't do so much anymore. I mean, that's what all of this is all of it is compression. And it's just like letting it breathe a little bit, which I think it makes it a little easier to parse at a glance. Like here, there's an extra indent. Not a big deal. There just happened to be an extra indent. Maybe I like deleted some scope and just didn't see that or whatever. Like it's not a big deal, but it is one of those things that if you're working on a team of people, it's nice to have enforced for you. Is that true? If I save in if I save in a JavaScript file, it'll be on the same line? Probably. That's probably why I did this then. It's probably just my JavaScript styling coming through. Actually, that is another thing that helps me, that I'm aided by with stuff like auto formatting and code completion and stuff like that, just because I am switching languages so often. It can be a real hassle. I wonder if I can format all files in a project. Probably not. I mean, actually, there probably is a way. There's probably an extension or something, but I don't care that much right now. So I didn't make any actual edits here, so I'm going to ignore these for the moment, because I haven't actually done any work. So one question I have several questions. One is, what are these and are they any good? Probably no. Probably because if they were any good, I would have done something with them. 2, do we actually need Vectrosity in this project? I like Vectrosity generally, but if I don't need it, I don't need it. And if I don't need this interpolate, I don't need it. Unless I decide so it seems like I'm not actually using this. I think that was for interpolating along a spline, which that is something I probably would use a library for, just because it's really annoying. Like spline interpolation, which is weird if... be a little weird, actually. I wonder why I did that. Was I just creating the splines? Yeah, I guess I was manually generating them. So I must have been using that for one of these. So like, that's a real question. Do I keep it around for those, even though I'm not using it? I also don't think I'm using Vectrosity anywhere, actually. I think all this stuff is Canvas. That's not true, actually. No, it looks like this guy is 100% canvas. I think the sprites that get spawned are not canvas. What's the truth here? So for some reason, those are not. Okay, so that actually brings up something that could be a little annoying. Is the using the sprite stuff with canvas. I think there's a way to do that. So I don't know why I did this. Oh, it's the particles. It's the particles. So actually this is all canvas, except the particle systems are 2D particle systems, which that makes sense. Okay, but there's no vectrosity in there. So that was drop, fade. It's a bummer that I've broken. Ugh. Okay. No, I don't want. No. Get out of there. That's not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be here. This is all canvas as well. It's just I've broken the scaling somewhere, and that's annoying. Like I need to get that stuff set up so it's like some kind of normalized coordinate system, like UV. This guy's okay. I like that one. That one's okay. It's pretty satisfying on mobile. Oh, yeah, perfect. I don't want to make a mobile game. Then I have to have microtransactions. That's a new thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go through all of my iOS apps and re-release them with no... Like, currently Velotic has like a pro mode that you can unlock that so few people paid for, and Ostinato has like a, hey, you can give me some money if you want, but nobody did. So I'm just going to like... These all cost money now. I don't care. Like, I don't care if no one uses it. Who cares? Like, just give me $1. Okay, I didn't see anything that looked... I just don't think I use Vectrosity. I guess I could do a very blunt test, which would be delete Vectrosity and then see what breaks. I'm going to keep it around because I do have some notion that we might want to revisit these after we do everything else, right? Like get it running, get it working, make it a thing, and then maybe we revisit those. Okay, so then probably the next thing we want to look at is this is lame. I don't like this. Like, it makes it seem like those things are gonna all be broken. I think it even shows like a big flag on your editor if you use what's the problem here? They're not called vector graphics package. Hello? Is it not a package? Unity? Vector graphics, it's called. So I'm showing preview package. Oh, that would suck. Is the vector graphics package not compatible with 2020.3? That would be insane. 2020's been out for a year. JetBrains, get out of here. Nobody likes you. Test framework. We don't write tests. Get out of here. Test framework. Get out of here. We don't. How do we use timeline in this project? Maybe I'm wrong. Kyle. It is an interactive album that I did most of the work on in 2017, and then I had to while I was stuck in my hometown in Texas, and then I had to rush away to work on a job, and then the job ate a bunch of time, and then it kind of got lost in the shuffle. So it's a 4-year-old project that was probably something like 90% done. Problem is, as we all know, the first 90% of a project takes 90% of the time, and the last 10% of a project also takes the second 90% of the time. The last 10% of a project is often the most arduous. But so today we're just kind of excavating and getting it up and running again and just seeing what we want to do. And potentially switching to a different rendering method, which I think I want to do. We could also switch this to URP if we wanted. I don't think there's a reason to. I don't mean post-processing or anything. But right now Unity's being contrary. It's still there, just no longer visible in Package Manager. What? So we recently went through our package list to identify preview packages that are further from the verification stage, just dependencies of other packages, or not under active development. In Unity 2021 later versions, these preview packages won't be listed. That sucks. Well, there goes my... Yeah, it seems like people didn't like this idea because it's a dumb idea. Also, that's people are going to use them less if they're more difficult to discover. This is a bad idea, Unity. Okay, so how am I supposed to use this? That's lame. Unity. Not cool, dude. Still, lame. Lame. So how do you add this? Typing the package name under add package from get URL. I don't approve of this. You're fired, Unity. Okay, are you serious? If I did from get URL, but I add this? And now it puts this big giant preview packages thing. I feel like that's not good, Unity. Are they doing this to reduce their liability and say nope, you're using a preview package, it's your fault. Get out of my face. I don't like that. I'm not into it. Okay, anyway. So here's the whole thing about that package is there's there's multiple ways for it to work. So vector object 3D, that's Vectrosity. We don't want you, Vectrosity. Get out of here. I think it's actually an importer. Okay, so there's multiple ways to do this. I think we actually want to import it. So we just need to start. It would be kind of nice to just be able to generate some of these, though, because some of them, there's so many of these that are just primitive shapes. You know, it's like 5 different kinds of circle, but we can't use the same circle because they'll have different border thicknesses. Okay, so there's several things. We can do an SVG importer. Generates 2D sprites. I think that's not what we want. Is it? Or is it actually? And then there's a vector graphics API to be able to draw stuff, but we have to like generate and save. That could be handy because then we could just like type in a radius, type in a border, and then create an asset. But let's not go down that path at the moment because we've got this stuff. So let's try a couple things. So if we had a friend and that friend was a circle. For example, and in fact, let's leave it like this. It's just a border. Nice round circle. 32 pixel border. Okay. Let's save this in 2 ways. So save it as a PNG. Oh. Wait. Come back. So let's have a ping circle, transparent background. Great. I don't like it the way it cropped it, but whatever. And then let's export as SVG circle.svg. Probably gonna also crop it in a dumb way, but we'll just ignore that for now. Because I think we could, I don't know actually. I think we can do this fancy thing and do like asset exporter. It's not ideal, but so can we do this as SVGs? Yes. So you can do stuff like this where you drag these in and then, you know, export them as SVGs, and it'll just export everything on one button click, which is pretty handy. So now we want you, and for now we're just testing stuff. Desktop. We just want those 2 friends. Okay. So here's the deal with these 2 things. This guy is a sprite. This guy is an SVG. We want a camera. Camera. Okay. You can be square. So let's see what we just out of the box. What do we get with these? So one of these is the PNG and one of these is the SVG. And I will say right off the bat, the SVG does not look good. Why? Why doesn't it look good? Is our tessellation settings? This is interesting because it's like in here and then it provides a circle sprite. Provides a circle. So here's the thing though. If we zoomed way the frick into them, then it would make a difference. Yeah, like once you zoom way in, you start to see the advantages. And you can see on the PNG side, it looks, you know, PNG-ish. And you can see on the SVG side, which is now, I think, just a vector shape. Like, I think if we do the thing and we say, so selection wireframe, no. That's weird. I thought it would do that. Gizmos are all turned off. What? I thought you could see the wireframe of an underlying sprite. Am I crazy? Is that something that changed at some point? I feel like you used to be able to do that. Cube, you turn orange, and then I see all your business. You guys don't do that. Why? Kind of feel like that used to be a thing that worked, but oh well. Anyway, point being is there's like, I think this thing is just ending up as a bunch of geometry. Like this is not an image sprite. So all sprites end up like with some weird, weird geo. It's not weird. It's just helpful geometry so that you don't have a bunch of transparency overfill. So very often, like there's just on this guy, even though it's an image, there's probably a big hole in the middle. There's probably, this kind of sucks that we can't see this. I am like 96.3% certain that you used to be able to see sprite outlines. But for whatever weird reason, that appears not to be the case anymore. Anyway, in both cases, you can see you end up with the sprite renderer. In your sprite rendering, it's just that this is like literally geo with color. So you can zoom way into it and it will hold up much longer than the sprite will, which is good. But while zoomed out, it's worse because this image has a little bit of anti-aliasing built into it. It's just, you know, part of when we exported the image, we exported it, it's got a little AA. And for the geometry-based dude, that's not the case. And the AA is included in the pixels. Like, you know, you zoom into those pixels, you can see like some of those pixels are partially transparent. Like that's just part of the image. So what are our options then? Physics shape, don't preserve viewport, tessellation settings, target resolution. So we could say 4K, and then presumably that would make a higher res. So we can make a vector sprite, a UI SVG image, UI toolkit vector image. So these are ways that we could still use it in other contexts. A textured sprite is just a sprite, I think, but I think this is the thing we'd actually want to use. So if we do this, it probably is going to make an insane. So you can see the number of vertices used to create this. And you don't actually see that here. Yeah, this is a bummer. I want to be able to see, let's see. I'm almost certain you used to be able to do this. Mm. Yeah, not cool. Maybe it's only when you atlas that happens. I don't know. I feel like I've been able to see that before, so I don't know how to do that now. And it tells me about that geometry. So there's 267 vertices, which seems like not a lot, actually. Okay, so one thing is like, if that's the thing we do, then is that solvable with anti-aliasing? MSA is request for the camera, but not enabled in the quality settings. Okay, so project settings, quality. So we're on quality simple. Funny that even at fantastic, that's weird. Can we just reset all these? Okay. And we're set to ultra. So we should have anti-aliasing. So we should be... Did it improve? It did improve. So that's 8x. And actually this is deceptive because this is a 1x zoom here, where this guy's already breaking out a little bit, breaking down a little bit in terms of becoming soft. This guy's breaking down a little bit in terms of, you know, some anti-aliasing. So that's only 2x though. So 4x, let's just try a few runs. So that's disabled, very chunky. I don't know if you can even really tell on the stream, but it's chunky, trust me. There, that should help. So this is, our ping is breaking down as expected. This is our geometry with no anti-aliasing. Looks bad as expected. This is with 2x, which is an improvement, but still is not terrific. And that's with 4x, which is actually not bad, at least up this close. And that is 8x, and I would say 8x is quite good. Now the problem is does this hold up well far away? And I would say that 8x actually holds up pretty well. So this is far away at 8x versus far away disabled, which is awful. 2x, which is okay. 4x, which is good and maybe adequate. There's an extremely subtle difference. You almost can't even see it zoomed out this far for 8x. Very, very, very subtle. So I think we can use this. I think. It's hard to, you know, normally I'd be nervous about preview packages, whatever, but like, again, I feel like most of the places that it would break, if it was going to break, would be during import. It feels less likely that it would break. This feels less likely that this would break at runtime. Could be wrong about that. Could be quite wrong. I've been quite wrong before, but seems okay. And we also have, you know, there's alternate. We'd really want to see this on a. This is a 1080 screen. We'd really want to see it on a device to really know. But I feel pretty confident about it. I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. I'll be BRB. I had a tiny snack. Very tiny. Okay, so how are we feeling about this? I think we want to try to use this. I think it could be good. It could be bad. It could be bad. But it could be good. I don't think there's anything else I want to do to validate before I take the plunge. So the thing that's annoying, one of the things, there's lots of things that are annoying, is, you know, this is an iOS, was originally conceived as an iOS release, and it's annoying to build for iOS. I think it's impossible from Windows. Like maybe if I have it in like a VM or something, I can. So I'd have to go back to that machine to be able to do a build, and that'd be a little obnoxious. I guess I could just commit this test scene. Maybe. And then try to quickly do a build over there. Or I think I have an Android phone in the closet somewhere, an S6. And we could try to get up and running there, although I actually didn't install Android build tools when I installed this version of Unity. So what's the right answer? We could, maybe we should just, so we have the option, install the right version of Unity on this here laptop machine. $90% off in our spring software sale. Incredible. Do we need any software in the spring software sale? I sure didn't like Dragon Quest 11. I don't think we need it. I don't think we need any of this stuff. Monster Hunter Rise. Oh man, Balan Wonderland is out now. How bad are the reviews? I predict bad. Based on pre-release. Okay, let's get this installed. Balan Wonder. Oh, we'll look at it. Let's take a look. Okay, Android build support, iOS build support, Linux build support, Mac build support, whatever. Okay, downloading over here. Great. Over here, let's just look up Balan. It looks so bad. It looks so bad. It like Square Enix. Did we talk about this? We talked about this, right? That like Square Enix has. So okay, one thing you got to remember with Square Enix is, you know, they release games of their own, but they're also a publisher. But in the last few years, I feel like they have published some just astoundingly bad games. Wait, who's making Balan? Balan's making a new one. Wait, who is? Oh, me. I am? Yes, the new Olympic logo, but only two. It's a reduced Olympics. So, you know, Square has released some astounding games over time that they have developed. They've also released some astounding games that they have published. This is a Square published game, I think, or is this Square developed? They might be the developer on this too. Which would be embarrassing. Balan Wonderland. No. Okay. Balan Company, Arzest was the developer here. So they didn't develop it. They did publish it. It looks. Oh boy. It looks real bad. It's pretty creepy. It's pretty weird. There's a free demo. You can play it and see the creepiness for yourself. Let's see how it's doing. My prediction is not well. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the best game ever released. It's not. Wait, why are there no ooh. Here's the critic reviews. Okay, the no meta. Why are there only 3 reviews? So the game came out 3 days ago, but I think they didn't send out review keys because it was so bad. Nintendo Life says, we're not going to mince words here. Balan Wonderland is a waste of your time. Monotonous level design, awful performance, and shallow gameplay combine to make for an experience that is simply not fun to play. It may look pretty when its frame rate isn't chugging, but there simply isn't enough good content here to justify your time or money. And this is doubly true when you take into account that it is a full price retail release. Oh man, I forgot it's coming to Switch. The performance seems so not good. So that's only on Switch. Can I see it? I'm gonna see it on all platforms. So how about on PC? Painfully average in most regards. Balan Wonderland won't draw much admiration for its content. Still, it's a competent game that does have its charms, few as they may be. That's flattering. PS4, 0 critic reviews. PS5, okay, the video chums love it. Screen Rant's somewhat credible. Xbox One, Series X, ouch. I mean, it's not really a Pokemon game. Not really. There's like lots of creatures. It's a little bit. If I had, it's almost, I would say, like a Mario Odyssey ripoff, but a really bad one, because it seems like you go through the levels and like take powers from creatures in that level. So it seems like a bad combo of like very Dreamcast era or PS2 platforming and game design with like a game mechanic that's just sort of a bad version of Mario Odyssey. Yeah, like these are the creatures. These are the costumes you put on. So very similar to Mario Odyssey's. One is the Tornado Wolf, which is just the Tasmanian Devil. He spins around and makes tornadoes. Pounding Pig, Dainty Dragon, the Elastiplant. I kind of like the Elastiplant, actually. That one's, I'm okay. I'm good with Elastiplant. Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird looking. It does like, you know how Animal Crossing has the shader that makes the terrain fall off in the distance, and a few other games have done that now, but like it's kind of a cool effect. It makes the world seem big and round. This game does the opposite of that, where for some inexplicable reason the world curves up, and as you walk towards it, it flattens out. It's just something. And it's published. Why Square Enix? Why would you publish this? But Square Enix is the company that published The Quiet Man a few years ago, which previously was maybe the most embarrassing thing they published, but was at least funny enough to be interesting because it was that bad. So they have Outriders, which is like a non-live game. It's like a Destiny and Gears had a baby. Final Fantasy 16, which will come out one of these days. Dragon Quest 11 was so boring. Marvel's Avengers, which seems like a flop in every regard. People do seem to like Final Fantasy 14. I did not like this remake. In my opinion, the last good thing that Square did was not anything Kingdom Hearts related. Wait, is this out? Okay, that's not out yet. Never mind. In my opinion, the last good thing from Square Enix, either house developed or published, was Nier Automata. Dragon Quest Builders 2 was okay. It was like turn Minecraft into an RPG. Octopath Traveler I thought was not good. It was okay, but it was mostly disappointing. Yeah, the first Tomb Raider game was okay, but barely okay, and then they got just like more and more tedious after that. Um, I did not. I know some people like Life is Strange. I did not like it. Final Fantasy 15 was okay. Like there's a lot of these Star Oceans and other these like things that have been running forever or remakes of things that have been around forever that I don't know about. Oh, the Quiet Man. Quiet Man. Like the last truly great Square game. Plenty of people like the Final Fantasy 7 remake. I didn't like it. I never played this. It seemed okay, or at least kind of interesting. But now we're getting way back here. Like we were many years ago now. Did I just pass over near? Weird. You would think they would have Automata higher since it's actually a good game and not a bad game like these other games. Octopath Traveler, there's 8 quests. It's like 8 mediocre RPGs crammed into one that don't interplay at all. The characters are pretty generic and in some cases kind of duplicates of each other. The stories aren't good. It's not a good game. It's very pretty. That studio has a new game coming that looks pretty. This is actually a great game. This is an outstanding game. Great game. Great game. Great game. Great game. What's that new thing called? The new thing has a weird name. The last JRPG that I played and liked was Yakuza 7. Is a good JRPG. I was beginning to think I didn't like JRPGs. I was thinking like maybe I just hate JRPGs. But I love Persona. I love Persona 5. Yakuza 7 was very, very, very good. Which is weird. It's weird that they turned Yakuza into a JRPG, but it's great. As far as like just rando, very by the books JRPG, the last one was probably... I tried the first Ni no Kuni recently and did not like it. Did not like the Final Fantasy VII remake because they padded it out so much. If they just left it a single game instead of trying to expand it into 3 games so they could sell you 3 games, maybe I would have liked it, but phew boy. Yeah. I guess Yakuza 7. That was very recent. Before that, I don't even know the last time I really liked a JRPG. I mean, maybe I don't like them. Maybe I don't like JRPGs. And I just happen to like Yakuza 7 and Persona. I liked Final Fantasy 3 for Adventure for the Game Boy from 20 years ago. I'd play you a song from it. We'd probably get a copyright flag. That was a good one. That's one where you fight God. Okay. Anyway, what are we doing? Yeah, we were installing Unity over here. Okay, we're still installing. I just, like, before I fully commit to this, I would like to see it on a screen. I think. Or maybe we should just do it and not be chicken. I mean, I feel pretty confident this is the way to go. Because the issue is with all those different iPhone sizes and tons of different pixel resolutions, that's what gets so annoying. Is if we go back to our buddy. And it's not like, I feel like another thing was early on when you just had to think about Retina, it's like, okay, it's double. Like it's whatever, we got it. You just double it and it's no problem. You just want 2x assets and then you're good. But that's not true anymore. Because not only do you end up with, these double and triple renders, they're just substantially different in terms of the, aspect ratio is different. The width is different, and there's not like some convenient math multiple that is going to make something. There's not some really convenient multiple that's going to cover these 3 widths, these 4 widths. Is not going to be good. So again, maybe we don't care about some of the, no, we do. We have to care about this because this is iPhone 7 and iPhone 8. And if this is iPhone 8, then that probably means that it's the SE too. So this is a bit out of date, really. I mean, it's obviously out of date. It's like at least a year out of date. But so I think we have to care about all these resolutions. And we just care about the widths, which we generally only care about the widths because we can, what we want to do is draw a square, right? That's all we care about. We just want to draw a square. The things that get annoying is the widths of those squares. We have at least two widths that we have to care about. And then maybe you can be zoomed in a little, maybe you can zoomed out a little bit. And then we also have to care about the squares being offset. And then, the squares will be rendered at multiples of something. So if it was just like the 414 width, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because then we could just always use 3x assets or something like that. And then again, like iPad is a whole other conversation. And then of course, whatever's going on in Android, like that's a whole other conversation. So it's just a bit annoying to have to care about that. Right. And so all these resolutions, what a bummer. I wonder if there's an actually up-to-date one. This doesn't show the like, I want the chart that shows like the non-scaled though, but basically this, like, is this what we have to care about? Does this not have the SE2? This doesn't have the SE2, but I think that's the same as the 8. I think. So yeah, I don't like. So it's like that. My whole point with all this being is like I don't care. Like I just don't want to care about pixels. I don't want to think about pixels. And so if I want to be resolution independent and not even think about it either, I just say whatever. My assets are this, and they can be scaled like any game would. Like they could be scaled up or scaled down, and they just might not look that good. They won't be pixel perfect. Oh, well, I think that was this was deceiving because it was just mixed in with all these pluses, which were much larger. So this iPhone 8 actually goes with all these, the 750 width. So I think it's just a bit of deception. And really that's rendered at 2x. So it's really like, whatever, 375. And some of these that seem really big are actually rendered at 3x, so it's divided by 3. So anyway, it's annoying. It kind of sucks. And I don't think Unity has a great... I don't think there's like a... Yeah, so all these are like 3x scale factors. This is my current phone. Yeah, so iPhone 12 even adds, that wasn't on that previous chart, adds new, totally different resolutions that were separate from those previous ones. So if you were trying to come up, the thing I tried to do before was say like, okay, I'm going to look at all these for like, what is a common denominator that would be something close to, an asset size that I would want to produce that then would work in all of these. So for example, if I said, oh, let's just make everything, we don't care about going back this far, but we could say like, let's just make everything 320 wide. And then on these bigger resolutions, either we have more padding around them, which I think would not look great, or we have more padding around them, or we scale them up and then it doesn't look as good. And so it's just not a good situation to be in for this kind of thing in particular, where I want really sharp, like extremely sharp vectory kinds of stuff that can scale up and down. And so that's why I think this is the right way to do it. And I think what I think I want to do then is I will set up all of my stuff at like a fixed whatever I decide, whatever I decide is my viewport size And then the camera will be probably an orthographic camera. And then all I will do is based on the size of the screen, I can just do this and I'll get that pixel width and then I can just adjust this orthographic size. And I think it will be good. Like, see how once I'm here, I don't know if you can tell really on the stream, but like once I'm here, when I'm scaled out like this, the PNG really breaks down and gets pretty gross. And then similarly, if I'm really scaled in, the PNG and breaks down and gets gross. And so if I want something that's going to be super crisp at no matter what the resolution is, I think I want to do the vector geometry assets. And I think in this case, my vectors are like sane enough that would be okay. Okay, so I'm going to pull this project over here. So, yeah, the thing to figure out then, though, is like how do you actually... How do you make these choices? Like, because these sizes aren't really relevant. In fact, probably if I do, this might be a bad idea. This might break everything. Yeah, I only installed Windows on this one. Because if I did iOS, I could look at all the resolutions. But can you even do that on Windows? I don't know. I assume you can. You can actually work on it. You just can't... Okay, installs, add modules. Let's add iOS build support, I guess. Let's add Android build support, I guess. Those are mini gigs. But I'm just talking, so why not? So yeah, anyway, so in other words, I will work at whatever scale I decide is the scale I like, which I believe I created all of these at 1080. Maybe. I hate you, Creative Cloud Files. Why do you think you can live there? You're not welcome here. Yeah, so volume 1, design. I think these are the designs for everybody. It's funny, somewhere along the line I got a bunch of conflicts, but I think they're all identical. I don't really know. Another thing that's funny is I thought I had done layouts of these. Like, what is that? Is that supposed to just be stripes? Okay, let's stitch these for the moment. I don't know where to start. I kind of don't want to start with the first one because it is sort of the least structured. So here's the deal, for example. So like these icons, those are our little buttons up here and I can do stuff and so on. So like these little guys are these sprites, like the clear icon, for example. And are these shared? No, so they probably should be. So here's the icons for drop. I think these conflicts are not true. I think they're a lie. I really wish Windows was better at previewing things. but it's not. I installed like a quick look like thing, but okay. So for example, I assume I just have a bunch of layers here. So I have the X button. I have whatever the, assume that's the stop button. Funny, because that doesn't look very sharp, does it? Okay. So I have an X button, the stop button, and this path. And these are 128 by 128, which is probably fine for icons. So what are these jerks actually called? I have clear icon, back icon, and stop icon. And so one thing I could do is do this asset export friend and say, that's the clear icon, give me the clear icon, clear icon. Just this kind of business. Clear icon, stop icon. Right? No reason for those to be stacked, but whatever. And then say I want to export as SVG. And then where do I want to put them? Who knows? So we'll kick these out. No open location export. What I don't know is if it's gonna like one thing I'm not crazy about is, which I guess is fine. Like it's fully cropping them, which maybe that's okay. It's not really what I want. Like I kind of want that apron. I mean, normally I want that apron so I just know everything is a power of 2, but I guess I don't care that much. So now I have a vector clear icon in addition to my raster clear icon. And so just to like check it out, I just want to see them like 2 up. How did I not show the skybox? Okay. So there's 2 of those. You can see that they're breaking down. And if this clear icon, instead of using this guy, used this guy, my fear is that the scale is going to be wrong, though. Set native size? Why are you so little? Why are you so little? Do that, set native size. Why is the native size absurd? Oh, okay. I need to actually say that this clear icon is not a vector sprite. It's one of these. It's a UI SVG image. I think I need to say that. So turn this on. Buttons. Just have a duplicate clear button for a moment. Clear icon. And just to be clear, I said you are a UI SVG image. Target resolution. We'll just need to do some math to figure out what that actually should be, but for the moment, we'll just say that's right. And that clear icon now gets this clear icon sprite. I'm confused by... Seems wrong, right? Seems quite broken, in fact. Like it's getting... Yeah, something's... Maybe there's something wrong with that UI SVG image. Maybe there's something else wrong with something we're doing. So let's try to just create a canvas from scratch and just see if there's something about this old canvas that is not happy. So if we said, okay, let's start with this. Use sprite mesh. Oh, interesting. So actually, do I need to do something different? UI SVG image is a different thing. I see. Okay. That's my problem, I think. Well, that's with no material. Okay. So let's do clear button, duplicate it, look at it. Let's say you're not an image. You're an SVG image. You said you're not an image. You're an SVG image. Okay, and then you get clear icon sprite. So that's good. Kind of. Like, I mean, you know, just, you can obviously see the quality is much, much higher. That's good. Doesn't need to be raycast target. That's all fine. Although we'll probably want to do that like for some of these other buttons. So that's all good. So that seems good, except for the sizing. And so that's what I was getting at with the, by not having that apron around it, it's a little annoying. I mean, it could be that I made everything 50% anyway. Funny that it doesn't want that. Like that looks about right. Like that seems like a thing I would do. Maybe. Like actually make it 64. The other thing to try is on the import settings, maybe there's something we can do. Like preserve aspect. Advanced zoom factor. Problem is I think even on our little buddies, okay, so the only way around that would be, it's a little bit annoying, but whatever. So I think to do this, we have to do this and just make it transparent, which is definitely not ideal, but I think let's just try it. And then I think that we have to then way to replace this. And there's a way to update, which is lame. But so the goal then would be to say, and I don't love this. Maybe there's a smoother way to do this, but you would still grab these, but you grab them with that backdrop. Why can't I grab the backdrop all of a sudden? No, I accidentally delete it, probably. Okay. So you throw those away, and then you do this again. but now you would include the backdrop in it. Almost certain there's a way to do this. Just holding down. Okay, let's hold down Alt. The other idea, I mean, maybe this is a little less annoying, but just add this to everybody. So it would be kind of like this. Yes. And then I could do this. And still have the naming. Top icon. So, you know, some of the stuff is more annoying to set up, but if you set up properly, and actually, you know, oof, I had another idea. So like sometimes this stuff's annoying to set up, but if you set it up right, it's really easy to iterate, you know, like if I set this up in a way that is all happy, then I thought I could drag from here. Is that not true? That's not. Oh. Good grief. Okay. Get out of here. Get out of here. I shouldn't have them stacked for this approach. They should be laid out in a grid. They shouldn't be on top of each other. That's kind of my own fault. So anyway, so now if I do this, let's see if it keeps that kind of apron around it. I don't know if it will. Even if I tell it to like preserve the viewport, sort of seems like it didn't. That may be part of the export settings. For SVG, yeah, that seems not right. I mean, that seems like what I'd want. Those are the ones I just exported. So is that not? Okay, there it goes. Okay, that worked. So that worked. It's a little dumb. It's definitely a little dumb. So really the way to do this now, and if I was doing this, kind of tempted to do this. So like when you have collections of UI assets like this, I don't think Illustrator is not really the tool to use. Sketch is probably it's probably really the tool to use. And Sketch is pretty awesome because Sketch is like a design program that is very good for like design systems and exporting design systems, and also for crazy things like it can work with version control. I think you have to use a third-party system for it, but anyway, so like that notion blows my mind. So that you can have graphic files with version control, and you can look at changes, and you can have diffs. You don't use Git, something else. Sketch version control. I think it's a third-party service. Yeah, Abstract is. Which is cool. It's I worked on projects where that was insanely, amazingly useful. What's the difference between Sketch App and Sketch App? I don't know. It's also really good about like creating symbols and then using them in different places. Like it's designed for interfaces in a way that Illustrator is not. And I've never, like, I've had a couple projects for me, for my personal projects. It's always felt like I shouldn't build in time to learn to do that. I know the basics of Sketch, but I definitely cannot move around in it quickly the way I can in Illustrator. Okay, so like that seems like it worked, right? Does the function of this button still do anything? I don't remember how seems like it does. Okay, so both these buttons are buttons. Clear button vector. Funny how I did that. Guess I was trying to maintain full prefabs of the whole thing. He thinks his PlayStation is going to get me. Oh, look how sharp that is. It's so sharp. Until it like breaks down eventually, which is not good. Like now it's just invisible, which is not great. But hopefully we would always be in a realm of sizes, like where we'd never be in a realm of sizes where suddenly we're dealing with issues like this. Like we could look and actually figure it out, but our like fluctuation of size should be relatively tight. You know, like in terms of how big will we ever be versus how small will we ever be. I'm kind of tempted. I think when I initially designed all these, I designed them all with 1080 as like the goal. Like that doesn't look very sharp right now, but we're at 50%. So like if we were actually here, Unity is not great about this. Okay. And these things that at scale should work a little more nicely too. The button works. It is going to be, so let me just play those videos again. So it's an album that's like, requires you to interact with it. So there's 7 songs, but none of them are set. They're all generative. So you have to like use the tools to do the thing. So there's multiple of them. So it will be a mobile app, I guess is the short answer. And they're like little audio toys, but then you can play and they will make a new song. So it's almost like an album with some assembly required is the idea. And it's been built for 4 years. I just never released it because there were some annoying things that I wanted to figure out first. And so that's what I'm trying to do today is figure out this like vector approach to things. So I think, you know, I feel like in general, we figured it out, kind of. So most of what we need to do is go back and like retool all these assets. Also probably look at all the code because I'm kind of afraid to look at it. Like, how bad is it? It's code I wrote 4 years ago. At least there's comments in there. Although there's my notorious thing where I put 2 slashes, meaning I should add a comment here, and then just no comment. But it's all driven by a metronome system that I think is pretty good. And so really it's just like the underlying metronome stuff is pretty good. There's just broken UI stuff and this vector stuff that we want to figure out. So like, that's the real goal. I don't actually, so some stuff though, this may be the only one that does it actually. has particles. And for the particles, like obviously we have to scale. I don't know that we can use the vector stuff for particles. You think so? What do you want? You want the gravity? Is that you want to be able to throw it in different corners when it's in small mode? Or do you have new feature requests in addition to the docking? Gravity. Think of how I'd do that. What is it? What's the other thing? Oh, I see. Visual with no audio? I see. Interesting. What if instead of a separate command that was just volume and you could just set the volume? Or you don't like having to do multiple commands, right? Because we could parse through for multiple arguments and process them all at once. So you could do like YT big, yeah, volume. Yeah, so volume, you could just set volume 0 if you want to be quiet. Because I think that YouTube player gives us volume. We'd have to like build an argument parser if we wanted to do multiples, so I don't think I want to do that yet. Okay, so let me finish this thought. Now you've got me thinking about the YouTube thing. Okay, wait. No, don't. We'll think about gravity in a little while. So actually, I mean, honestly, I've done most of what I wanted to do today, which was like validate stuff and get it working, and then check and see if we wanted to do the, experiment with the vector thing. The code seems to be functional. Not well tested, certainly. But that's okay. I can maybe release some builds for everyone to play with. Life is Yours can be my beta tester. Do you have any iOS devices, Life is Yours, or are you all Android? It's actually easier for me to build Android from this machine. You would never what? You would never have Android, or you'd never have iOS? I'm guessing you would never have iOS. I generally prefer iOS in almost every way, except it is annoying to build for. Yeah, I know, Ben. So first, let me say all computers are bad and all operating systems are bad. So let's just get that out of the way. So like they're all terrible. None of them are good. So like already the bar is so low that like arguing about which mobile operating system is better or worse is almost irrelevant because it's all terrible. There are I could generally make a case between, like Mac OS and Windows and Linux. I could argue scenarios in which you would want any of those three things, unless it's on your desktop, and you never want Linux ever. For mobile, I generally prefer iOS. Yeah, what's your favorite type of ulcer? You want a stomach ulcer or like somewhere in your colon? Which would you prefer? Now, wait a minute. So you telling me that Google is a good company? Because if you're telling me that Google is a good company, then you're out of your mind. Remember, Apple charges you money because they're selling you something. Google charges you less money because they're selling you as a product. You whatever you want to say about the quality of the products or like which serves a purpose better, which tool is better, is fine because tools are tools. But you absolutely cannot sit there and try to argue that somehow Google is like morally superior to Apple, because I think that is categorically false. They are at best equally terrible. So first of all, that's nonsense. That argument is ridiculous because I can still run, I think as of this year, the latest version. I believe so. The latest version of iOS will run on an iPhone 6s, for example, from 2015. But however, my Galaxy S6 only got Android updates for like maybe a year. Like it's so as far as like software continuing to work, and my experience for the devices that I have, my Apple devices have been much better supported than my Samsung devices. The most morally superior tech company, it's the one that plants trees. It's that search engine that plants trees, probably. Google is terrible. Google is like a demonstrably terrible company. Apple, at least, even if it's just posturing, at least part of their posturing is caring about privacy. Yeah, they don't get more updates. Great. So eventually you won't be able to run newer versions of software. You won't get any security fixes. You'll be vulnerable to exploits. I guess if that's fine. If you want to run a 5-year-old vulnerable operating system. Google's terrible. Although Amazon is actually is racing to the top from like the worst possible company. Like with all the anti-union stuff, they might be the number one worst. Oh, great, perfect. So you've made your own phone more vulnerable. Very good. Okay, so what are we actually doing? I think we like the vector stuff. Do we want to work on it anymore today? I kind of don't care. I'm semi tempted to go redo this whole thing with Sketch. The Amazon News Twitter that reads like some insane dystopian, like Big Brother report where it's the thing about, oh, you don't believe those stories about peeing in bottles. Those aren't true. Yeah. What is the thing? What is the thing? Like we've always been at war. Let's see. Like we've always been at war with Eurasia until one day that switches. Yeah, that's like shockingly bad. Um, I don't quite know what to do about that. Like I've been certainly on the service end. Fortunately, I hate AWS so bad that it's fine that you don't like me boycotting AWS is you don't have to tell me twice. Like it's it's so awful anyway that I'm very content to use other services. Um, but uh, I do still have Prime. Yeah, yeah. Unions are obviously anti-worker. Of course they are. Yeah, Amazon, maybe the number one worst. Very impressive. I will say Microsoft has improved over time, I think, becoming less horrible. Shockingly. That doesn't mean I think they should be allowed to buy every company on earth and every company that they want to. But I think the Microsoft of today is less disgusting than the Microsoft of 10 years ago, which I thought I would never say because Microsoft was my most hated company for a very long time. But they're shockingly like doing things that seem like not a bad idea. Okay, now you've fully distracted me from this, so let's just do let's do the YouTube thing. Yeah, Ben with the rare distraction. Usually Life is Yours is the master distractor, but okay. What are we doing? We want gravity and we want volume control. Volume control is probably really easy. What is that thing called? The video police. Okay, I No, not PI, not private. What if I did a thing where like every 10 minutes I switched to a different Twitch category and I just had like a script that, or maybe I let it be channel points and you can pick up a category for me and I'm just like a Twitch tourist and I never stay in a single category longer than 10 minutes. What is the search engine that plants trees? Ecosia. Maybe we should start using them. Let's plant some trees. Great. Is it really to be? It's against the terms of service to be in the wrong category. That's yeah. You got some old IRC forward slash. I'm gonna slap someone out with a wet trout. Is that it? Let's see. IRC wet trout. What's the classic? This was a meme before, like decades before memes existed. This page contains material that is kept because it is considered humorous. Such material is not meant to be taken seriously. What? Trout slapping originated in 1995. Yeah, because in Merc, I used Merc for quite some time. I would have thought it was before 95, though. Humor disclaimer. Okay, everybody, I just want to be clear. So wait, what if you're in science and tech and you're not conducting scientific experiments or using technology? Can you slap anyone around with a wet trout in Discord? Not Discord. Twitch chat. Bill Nye shows up and sprays you with a fire extinguisher. Oh, Merc. Some of my very first programming was very bad Merc bots. I probably don't have any of that source code. What a tragedy. I'm certain it was all awful. That's kind of surprising though. If you had asked me, I would have thought that Merc was out sooner than this. Of course, I very quickly then I switched to Unix and was ridiculous and used like Epic. Does this still exist? Wow. Recent changes. How far back does this go? No, that's not good. Oh, the cool ERT client though was. Does this still exist? The last stable release hasn't been updated for 6 years. Sad. And there was a big gap from 2004. Final in 2004. We're just chatting here. This is just chatting about IRC. Does Epic IRC client not get a Wikipedia entry? Wow. What did they? Will they like ban you? You just get a sternly worded letter? I want to play Mario Kart in Minecraft. Okay, what if part of my script like spoofs whatever game it is, and just like fakes a Mario Kart background behind me? Okay, what are we doing? volume, right? So we said YT. We kept radio. So the problem though is like volume means you need two arguments, right? So we got to start. We would have to start parsing arguments. So is the arguments the full argument string? Yeah, that's not actually, this is wrong, really. What we'd really probably want is just do that to get all the arguments, and then we'd say like args0. I think that's typically true, and I think in many cases the first argument is the command. So then we would need to say all of these would be like if args 1 and then we could say if args 1 was volume, then do a thing. Maybe. Let's see what the API looks like. I mean, I kind of feel like we're going to want stuff with multiple arguments at some point anyway. I guess we could say mute and unmute. How about that? That's probably actually the easiest thing, is mute and unmute. But that's assuming we can control the volume at all. Okay, mute and unmute it actually gives us. So let's just do that. How's that sound? Yes, it would be stateful, so it would be maintained. Yeah, should be stateful. YouTube has intercaps. All my YouTubes are wrong, right? Stop YouTube. Play YouTube video. Stop YouTube video. Mute YouTube player. Unmute YouTube player. Okay, it's true. It's true. People can control their own audio. They can be captains of their own destiny there. Okay, so mute and unmute. So I'm thinking about this. So like maybe we want to do it like Flexbox. Because then, oh yeah, because we do Flexbox and we can literally use the Flexbox commands. So Flexbox, the only thing the syntax is a little bit goofy. LifeVisitors loves it. He loves Flexbox. But because the horizontal words are different than the vertical words, Maybe we don't want to do that. I don't know. Because there's two things, right? There's like align and justify. I thought middle was one of the terms. I'm wrong. Box alignment and flex box. Okay. Where are the key? I just want a list of the keywords. Because the thing that is a little annoying is it's hard to imagine like just one. Yeah, so the thing that, yeah, how do we do this? Because then you start to get into a scenario where you care about multiple styles. So you either need two containers that are nested and like one of them is responsible for the size and the other is responsible for the alignment. Okay, so start, end, or center. You still need multiple styles though. Okay, so the really blunt way would be that you literally just have 8 styles. Like top, bottom, left, right. Top, bottom, left, right, or yeah, and then like top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, and those would be 8 options as far as where you could snap it. That would be one way to do it. Probably that's still multiple classes though, because we already have a class for big and small. So for as far as like maintaining and removing classes, how do you do that? Okay. So you can maintain an array and then I wonder if you can remove. If you remove, can you give it an array? Oh, just do that. So you could remove everything. What do we actually like here? So we can have a big player and a small player, and then we want the easiest way to say where that player is. And so you were thinking 4 places only, like 4 corners, right? That was what you were imagining. So, I mean, you can imagine that as 2 arguments. There's like the vertical. That'd be kind. So, like the I don't know. The fancy way would be that it's 2 arguments. One is like what's going on vertical, and which could be top or bottom, and what's going on horizontal, and which would be left or right. So you could do like YT space top space left, YT, or just YT space top, and then that would be top center for whatever reason if you wanted that. So that would give you 8 locations with 2 keywords. But which is pretty simple. The parsing of it is what is annoying. Because you need to, like, if you added top, you'd have to be sure to remove bottom. Which maybe is not that big of a deal. Like anytime you said top, you would just take away bottom. Anytime you said big, you'd take away small. Maybe that's actually the way to do this. So we would say, so one thing to do is, like, anytime we did, be like class name, you'd add big, and you would just know what needed to go away. So anytime you added big, you would also do a remove small and the inverse, instead of trying to maintain some fancy class list. Like, we already have a thing that maintains it. So we just did this. Mm-hmm. It's true. Yes, you would. You just have to maintain both states, I guess. Like in a light switch scenario, you could just say turn the thing off. You don't have to say unturn it on. And in this case, you have to say both, but that's fine. Like, light switch is stateful, so it's one state or the other. Which we could write some way to do that, but I don't really want to do it. I guess you could say center and remove everything. Yeah. So I think the last thing you would do, it would get confused if you said like top bottom at the same time. Yes. Yeah, this would be alignment, and that would be separate from sizing. So if you wanted that, we could also add medium. Which would remove small and big, and small, which would remove big and medium, and big, which would remove small and medium. Like, there's probably, yeah, like if we went a lot further down this route, we'd probably want to get fancier with how we well, yeah, I think we're going to end up with 9 anyway, because I'm going to support center, which is going to just throw away everything else. So like if you say center, it just doesn't do anything. I think. So we would like add center. In fact, we might just say it defaults to center, and then we'll have to look and see if that would actually work. But if you said center, you'd remove top and bottom. And left and right. This might be a crazy way to do this. I don't know. But then you would generally have, you just have these 2 pairs. You'd need 4 of them, which is a little annoying, but not the worst thing. Good job formatting that. Very good job. You'd have top and bottom and left and right. Like, you could really confuse it if you used multiple of these, but whatever. That we do need to, like, the danger there though is like it suddenly matters if you want to say top space bottom. Like, we need to parse those. You got to figure it out. So we'd probably say like args index of, just to know if it was there at all. That's probably what we do, and then we wouldn't care where it was. And we would just run them in the order that they happen to be in here. And if it was wrong, it's if you make up an insane command, it's on you because you made up an insane command. So if we say bottom, we add and remove top, and then add left, remove right, add right, remove left. Otherwise, remove them all. I don't think we actually need to return here, though. Oh, well, yeah. We kind of need to... Oh, shoot. These are all, by design, are mutually exclusive. Like, if we do any of them... That's tricky, because you'd have to look for something that looks like a URL. You'd kind of want to say, like... Because right now we're saying basically you can only do one command, which I don't like. I think I want to do like args.index of is greater than or equals 0, and then just if it's in there, it'll work. And then the problem is finding what looks like a URL is like the one challenge here. But I want to ignore that for 1 second. So this would let you do multiple commands, I think. If I did that like JS index of. Because if it's in there, it will give us 0 or more. So I think we want to say like function has argument. Just because that index of the syntax is a little weird looking. I don't know. I don't normally love to do stuff like this. I'm definitely not a person that like breaks out a million functions, but I'm trying to be less of that person in many ways, but like in this case, it probably makes sense to say. So it has argument, and we'd give it all the arguments and the one argument, and then give it the index of, and if it's greater than or equal to 0, then it should be true. So then we would say on all of these, something like this. That looks a little bit less dumb. Sig, great. And we can change all these. Oh, that's broken anyway. Broken. Okay, so then all of these can become has arguments. And then now we're kind of in trouble. Okay, so like if it has the thing, it'll do the thing. And if you give it two commands that cancel each other out, like bottom then top, that's your own fault. So then we don't return on it. So all of those should be good, actually, except the then we don't know which one to play. Like we have to find something that looks like a URL. So we would, I guess, have to say like args for each argument. And if it's like if argument dot index of like if something if it looks like a URL, we'll do it. And that will break the Well, we could if the last thing's always the URL, but this way it'll just look for a URL anywhere in there, and it will just assume that. I mean, maybe what you're saying is actually better, but this is a little more flexible because you could say the URL name and then follow with big, and this will just look like this will look for the first thing in your arguments that looks like a URL. I mean, I've almost certainly broken everything here. Okay, so we don't like that actually, because the console is a mess. So let's instead do this and do this and do this and do this. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll try it both ways. Let's see if this works first. I've almost certainly made a million mistakes. If we were like YT big, for example, class name at, oh, it's class list, huh? Class list. Our argument is not defined. Great. 137. Argument. Okay, we were supposed to say if this is greater than or equal to 0, then we will play it. Otherwise, we didn't find it. We need to do the same thing for radio, actually. I'll just look for something that looks like a URL. Okay. Maybe that worked, who knows? Let's see. Yeah, we could definitely make this tidier. All right, it's time to find Buck Bunny, right? I hate that clicking videos on Bing does not just take you to YouTube. Yes, it is a well-established fact that it is my own fault for using Bing, but still. Okay. So that's big. That's small, but small broke over here. Didn't work. Okay, I'm going to turn off this one. Okay. So... let's put in a little logging so we know what's going on. Wow. What did I do? I don't like args. I like arguments. We could extend that prototype to just look for a thing instead of the... yeah, of course. This is my jam, right? Actually, I don't know if I like this one. Okay, small, that was processed. Big. Okay, did I just type the wrong thing before? It's possible. I need to just add a Buck Bunny command that just automatically plays Buck Bunny. Okay, there's Buck. My dude. What did we do wrong? We said the player list. So does mute work? Okay, mute does work. Unmute doesn't? Player to unmute is not a function. Capital M. Okay. Let's just stick this in here. Okay. YT mute. YT unmute. Okay. YT big. YT small. Oh, it is small. It's just small is not that small. Right? Small is 960, which would be that. So that is small. So YT, do you think that this should become medium and that small should actually be smaller? Or do you think medium should be in between? Okay, so this should be medium and small is going to be a baby. Like 640 by 360 maybe. Or 320. 1280, 720, 360. You made a chart. I can't wait to see this chart. Ah, yes. 1920 divided by 3 is 640. So it's great. It's 1/3 of the width. And that is, so that will basically already work. Probably. I mean, you could still slap medium to all the same zones. Like you could do the same snapping with either one, in theory. I'm gonna leave a little bit of padding around the edge, just a hair. Okay, so, or maybe I'm not, because that would be part of the alignment. Okay, so mute and unmute seem like they work. I'm not going to add that to radio because why would you do that? You should just stop it. Or clear. So mute and unmute. We'll have size. Okay, so let's test all our sizes. Hey, we all like a little padding. Okay, so that is small. I did it wrong. That's medium. Great. I must have small, medium backwards. And now big is the smallest. What? Class big. What? Okay. I think I must have just broken something. Like, why are these bolded? Oh, because I lost a curly bracket. That's why. That's all. I don't want width and height. For big, because this essentially does that. Although, well, yeah, because we're removing these, so these wouldn't still apply. Okay, so this is medium by default? What is the default? No, this is probably small by default. You can please be quiet. Okay. What did we say the default is? So that's small, which actually on a full screen would be a quarter. So now let's do YT small. This shouldn't change. Let's do YT medium. Yes. And YT big. Yes. Okay. Those seem good. So here's the issue though, is we're like kind of cheating because we're doing alignment and size at the same time, which is a little bit problematic. Like, how do we want to get around that? Because we want these to be kind of independent, right? Like we want the width and height. So we want to flexbox it, I guess, and then just come up with a default that gets over. CSS Grid, is that fully supported everywhere? But I don't think I quite need that. Right? Because it's not going to fit in one of these. I don't think I want this, because I almost want this, but I want the arrangement to be independent of the size. So I think I really just want align and justify. Those two guys. Are you sure? Do I care? Oh, I see. So this can spit out? Well, but I don't want to have to... No, I don't have to do this, because that means I'd have to like define... For all the different placements, I'd need at least 8 different grid options, right? They would have to like... I'd have to put 8 different things to hit all of the spots. Really 9. So it could also be centered, right? This is cool, but I don't need to be this fancy. And I want to, again, I want my width and height maintained totally independently. But how could I have a single grid that would work for 3 different sizes and align 3 different sizes? Unless I can just center inside of a grid and not care if it falls off the sides. Like, I don't ever want to fit in a grid. I don't think this does what I want. I think this is more complicated than I want, because I only need to make 4 classes to cover the arrangement of all the sizes if I just flex box. Because I can just say flex start and flex end, like this is my left and this is my right. Yeah, top and bottom are like mutually exclusive, so you're not really, it's not really 5 things you're defining, it's really like top or bottom, left or right. And then center is just erases those. I don't want to define fractions. I don't want to care about the math of it. Again, I care about like I have a size and then it's just going to have gravity. So that thing's cool, but I don't think it's what I want. So the thing I just never remember though is the difference between align and justify. So align is vertical and justify is horizontal. Is that right? So the thing that happens here is that means that we start to only set sizes here. And then this could technically be aligned, which wouldn't make much sense, but whatever. And then we'd have and these are mostly going to just be one-liners, right? Like these are just going to have either a line start. So as long as the container is flex. Do I have a container? Well, I don't. Wish Glitch gave you the shortcut to bump lines up and down. Maybe it has one. Oh, right. But it defaults to whatever the default is, then align and justify are what I said. Right? Right? The pulse column. Okay, cool. Okay, so we just want a big dude that's up here that's always going to be display flex, right? And then... Oh, shoot, though. It's not right. It's the container where you define that. Is there not a way to define on the child where to align it, or is it only on the container? Because I actually want it to be on the... Right, in this case, I'm always talking about the container. Is there a way to, for children to say align self? Okay, yeah, align self. Self, this guy. Okay. So align self could be start and or center, right? Like this. And then I don't even know if we... I guess we do. Well, I don't know. Actually, we don't need this. As long as those would override whatever the main guy is, then we may not actually even need a center class. I know, yes. The master of Flexbox. Okay, and then this is exactly the same, except it's justify self. Right? I don't want this in my brain. Because in 2 years, everyone will do it in a different way. Okay. So... I don't know if this works. It like vaguely looks like a thing that'll work. Although we do then want the container to default to what is it? Flex center? Flex middle? What is it? Or is it just center? Not even flex. Yeah, just center. Oh, that's weird. Why is stuff prefixed and the non-prefixed? I don't know about any of this. How about this newfangled flex box? Okay, so that would kind of... We'll just see what happens. Would be like, by default, it's centered? Wrong. I was wrong. What did I do wrong to mean that, to make that not center? Is it not just... I don't care about flex direction. I care about flex direction. Oh, justify content. Is it align content and justify content? Or it's align items? Wait. What's the difference between align items and like content and items? If I do content in both, is that correct? I hate you, Flexbox. just set it all. Okay, so that worked on one, but not the other, because it's like align items and justify content, right? Okay, so by default we are centered, and by default we are small. So we could say YT medium and still be centered, and we could say YT big, and then we're centered, but it's irrelevant because we're full screen. Okay. So actually, let's try like YT big mute. Can I do two things at once? Yes, I can. So YT small unmute. Cool. So YT left. This isn't gonna work, is it? No. YT right. YT top. None of these things worked. So the classes are right. I just didn't do them right. So I said align self flex start. Is that not reasonable? Is that not important enough? Is it being overridden by the parent? Do I need one of these? Is that my problem? That shouldn't be true because anything that's defined in a class should be important, right? Okay, let's try it again. Should look and actually see what classes are being paid attention to. Okay, YT mute left. Okay, so we have left. So what's our actual problem here? So this guy is display flex, etc. This guy is flex start. Important. So what did I do wrong? Yeah, we got top flex. So I've like my... Yeah. Align self flex. There's some trick. Flex start, flex end, center, baseline stretch. Align self. Is there something? Oh, do I just not have a? Is it because I don't have a display flex on this? Do I have to have that on me as well? No. So align self, as long as my parent is display flex. Okay, so we're not even saying anything up here other than we're display flex, right? That's what matters. And we're the full height of the window, so that should all be good. But in here, why aren't these working? What's my problem? They're there. Align self flex end. Did I just like type it wrong? Align dash self. Like that's literally what I have, right? Or bottom. Yes. What's my problem here? I feel like we're really close. Hushbuck. Okay. It is applying and removing the classes. Let's try YT center just to see if it removes everything. Yes. YT bottom right. Adds bottom and right. Life is yours. Expert of all things Flexbox. What is my problem? Oh, it's the position absolute. Interesting. That's weird. So the parent, okay. So it just can't, the container should not be position absolute. If it wants to align, I guess align self doesn't work if you are, if you're absolute. Okay, so I think we're good. So I could, for example, say I want YT medium top left mute. I don't click the top left. Oh, maybe it is and it just has padding. No, that's top center. What? Okay. Okay, so now, but it's like justify. So is this the problem? So like justify self. Is it not start and end? Or justify? Only used with the flex layout. Huh. Seems like I should be able to use start and end there, right? So if I do YT bottom, that works. YT right, YT left does not work. So top and bottom are working. So align self flex start, align self flex end is working. Justify self, did I do something wrong? This just says end instead of flex end. Mute bottom left. YT bottom right. Okay, that was not the problem. So justify content. Is it something about justify self does not actually override justify content? Something silly? Because that said justify items versus justify content. So should this be true? Such a pain. Don't like you, Flexbox. Well, not quite right, but if we do YT right, does it work now? No. So that, I think, has to be justify content. So how do you do... Justify self and justify items are not implemented in Flexbox. Justify content, align content. Which seems like what I want. I have content. That's weird because I have items and I have content, but it actually seems like the content is what I want. But justify self does not. That seems bad. That makes it seem like the thing I want to do doesn't work. Controls child items. Justify self. Auto. I mean, we could do all this where we apply those styles. Maybe that's the thing to do. Is just apply the styles to the container div, because that's what we actually... I'm going to do it because I don't care. This is annoying. And we will just say... we will start with this. And then on all of these, we'll just set the thing that we want. So what did it actually say though? It sounds like we want justify content and align content though. Or like, yeah, it sounds like both. So we have these, and then what we have to do is say, let main div, and we'll just add and remove those from the main div. It's not that big of a deal. So now all of these friends, not big, medium, small still apply to the container. These all apply to main div instead. This seems a little bit less annoying. Now they're all broken. What did I do? Wait. Did I not do that? Oh, I missed some. Top and bottom. Left and right. Still seemed like it wasn't working though. Oh, because I didn't actually set this right. Okay. So top and bottom, we only want align. Left and right, we only want justify. And we want flex start, flexed, flex start, and flex start, and flex end. Okay. This is the one. It's going to be it. I don't know if it's going to do it. No, it's not the one. Is this because of like so we changed that. Let's change this back to this. And it seems like these are not important enough. I thought classes, applied classes would override, but maybe not. I think we're getting closer. That's funny. So it really seems like it wants to be items. So if I set YT top, I have the top. That is getting overridden. But if I just don't do these, okay, so that basically works. We're not defaulting to center, which is annoying because we could probably call those all important. Actually, it would probably be fine. I don't really like to do that, but we're still missing one piece here, actually, just realized. And it's the, like, if you want to align center left, the problem is, you know, top and bottom are clearly mutually exclusive and left and right. But if we're using center to refer to what's going on both axes, we are in trouble because we won't be able to really tell, you know, which is which one we're actually talking about. So let's see, YT mute bottom. We'll do that currently. But if you now did left, you could never get back to just this. Unless you called center and then centered from that, which maybe that might be good enough for now. In fact, if you said center left or center right or center top or center bottom, I think it would actually work. As long as we did the, as long as we processed center first. So basically that would blow anything away and then do the other thing. So you could say center left, center right. You couldn't say top center, left center, right center. Could you? Maybe you could actually. Since we're just searching for arguments, we don't care about the order. Maybe we can. So we could say YT top center, YT left center. Okay, cool. That's kind of an accident that works. YT center, YT mute bottom left. Yeah, but I don't want you to, like, that's how vertical line works, like old CSS. You know, you talk about middle and you talk about center, but we don't have to do that actually because our parser is accidentally smart enough. So you don't have to know the difference between mid and center. You just have to know the difference between. Actually, don't have to. It shouldn't actually matter. So we should be able to say YT center top, because center is always processed first, regardless of the order. So center top should be fine, but then also YT bottom center should also be fine. And then YT center doesn't really mean anything, but it'll work. YT left center, YT top right, righty right top, Oh, that one didn't work. What happened? YT right. Oh no, that's right. Left top. Yeah. Okay, and this is YT small. We lost our padding with this. Is the one slight thing. Okay, great. We'll use chess standards. There's no grid. There's no grid because nothing gets conformed to a grid. It's just replacement. It's gravity. It's not grid. So we can do YT center medium and YT center large. Nope. YT center big is what it's called. YT small top left. So the only thing we lose is the padding here. So let me think if there's like a way. Around that. Like maybe we literally just say padding. I don't know if that's going to work the way stuff is aligned, but let's try it. It does work. Okay. So for these guys, we can just have padding. Oh God, more features? Yes, we could probably do that. Like I'm feeling lucky. That'd be a different API. I bet there's not search in this. This is a deprecation announcement for the embedded player functionality that lets you configure the player to load search results. November 2020. Yeah. So the short answer is no, is that this API doesn't let it. You would separately have to use the YouTube data API. I mean, maybe that's something else we could do another day, but I mean, almost like, you know, Giphy or one of those. You could even search and then like randomly choose from the search results or something, but I think that's not going to be a today thing. Okay, let's test all the features and then call it a day. I don't even remember what all the features are. Play Buck Bunny. Radio Buck Bunny. Play Buck Bunny. I'm going to try this. Play Buck Bunny mute. Medium. Top. Right. That work? I think it did. Wow. So yeah, you can chain commands now. Yes, there is an unmute. So now I could do like YT unmute small bottom left. YT mute big center. YT small maintains the center and everything else. This isn't bad. That was pretty good. We're like, what is this phase? Am I using this term right? Relexing here. I always forget the meaning. It's like if we're parsing or lexing. Are we lexing? Or is this tokenization? Guess we're like tokenizing and then lexing in like a very simple way. Audio filters, great. I wonder if you could, you know, there's the web audio API, but you probably can't like filter the YouTube audio between that through that without YouTube adding support. And I bet they wouldn't do that. Okay. Take it for a spin. It seems like it does the stuff. And then we'll check in. The search thing seems kind of wild though, because you just don't know what you're going to get. trying to think if I might have accidentally broken something. Like, what if we went to youtube.com and searched for Buck Bunny? What would we expect? Yeah, like the first one would probably be fine. But within a few search results, things go off the rails a little bit. What's the first YouTube result for horse? Horse, so cute. Cute and funny horse videos compilation. Cute moment. So, okay, actually, I think the coolest, like play a specific channel, like a YouTube, like from one specific YouTube channel. Like the channel Animals So Cute. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know a ton about the YouTube API. I haven't used it very much, actually, except for this thing. So I'm going to say, yes, the mute and unmute is a new feature, and the gravity is a feature. But to me, the killer feature of the day is multiple commands. Although, if you want commands with arguments, that's a whole nother story. We'd need a much more complicated tokenizer Lexer. But the fact that you can do like in one command, you can say play Buck Bunny, muted, big, you know, all at once, I think is actually the best feature. If you wanted to have things start to have arguments like do this, Buck Bunny, whatever, we could. It's just we'd need a much more complicated Lexer. I guess that's the Lexer. Because then you have to iterate through and you have to find commands, and then those commands can also have parameters. I've done some of that stuff before. It's kind of annoying. The thing about that is you do sort of have to do them in order. You at least have to do the stage where you process them in order. I guess you could still run them in some separate predetermined order. Yeah, I have to think about that. Oh my gosh, so lazy. You can't even do a YouTube search. Outrageous. Peak laziness. What a shocker. Shocked by this laziness. Okay, we're done. We did some of the things we meant to do. I think we did most of the things we meant to do, actually. One day we're just going to sit and watch all of Buck Bunny. Just on loop. There's probably like a YouTube 10 hours of Buck Bunny. We're gonna hit it all. Okay, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Ben, thanks for coming along with the distraction. Kyle, life is yours. Appreciate it. We have 5 whole viewers today in just chatting. 24 hours of Buck Bunny. What's the release date of Buck Bunny? Buck Bunny release date. I will say this is I feel like this is remember when I first started streaming, when people actually watched before, when it was just Twitch Creative? I feel like that was a thing. Maybe I'm misremembering. Okay. Release date. April 10th. Oh, it's so soon. It's so soon. The Buckiversary. Check this out. I can't believe it. We are fast approaching the Buckiversary. That was the Amsterdam premiere. We'll celebrate both. Maybe we'll celebrate the original premiere by actually watching it all the way through. I've taken multiple long hiatuses, yes, and that's my fault. However, I feel like the thing, I don't know, I still feel like the end of Twitch Creative, I feel like was a bad thing that happened to Twitch. Maybe it was good for the music channel, and maybe it was good for the art channels, music and art, but I think for like game dev and people doing stuff like that, I think it was bad. I think it was a bad thing that happened. But this is the thing that makes music. Maybe we can go stream in music. Would that be better? Is music better than just chatting? Kyle only loves just chatting. Can we get a dedicated Buck Bunny section? How come there's no Buck Bunny game? Once upon a time, Blender had a game engine in it. What did you search for? What did you search for when you found me? Did you search for Buck Bunny? Oh man, you were just looking for people no one was watching. That's kind of you. And then look, now you're my personal uh search SEO advisor. We've come so long in the last couple of weeks, and now somehow I became your private free software developer for YouTube extensions. Maybe I don't know who got the better end of the deal here. Okay, I'm done. I'm actually done. Have a good day. We'll talk tomorrow. Goodbye.